What's good, YouTube? Boy, I'm back with another video, and today I'll be giving you guys my NFL predictions, man. I've been a long time. Sorry if I look crooked, but I'm back with another video. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend about my channel. We give everything, reactions, all the other stuff. I'm going to start back with the reactions. Something that I love to do, man. So if you guys know me, like, comment, follow. Let me know what other videos you want me to do. And let's get straight to the video. So I have my NFL predictions here. I'm going to go through them. And here we are. So if y'all can see my screen, but I think y'all can. Let's start with the AFC West. I got the Kansas City Chiefs going 14-3, 4-2 in the division. I got the Chargers going 10-7, Broncos 9-8, Raiders 2-15. And now if we go to all the games, I got Kansas City beating Detroit, beating Jacksonville, beating the Bears, beating the Jets, beating the Vikings, beating the Broncos, beating the Chargers, losing to the Broncos on Sunday night, beating the Dolphins, beating the Eagles, beating the Raiders, losing to the Packers, beating the Bills, beating the excuse me if I could just move this. There you go. Can I whatever. Beating the Patriots, beating the Raiders and the Bengals, and losing to the Los Angeles Chargers last week of the season. The Chiefs probably already clinched the number 1 seed, so they're going to rest all their players, and the Chargers are fighting for a playoff spot, so they'll win that game. Now, the Chargers, I got them losing to the Dolphins. I got them beating the Titans, losing to the Vikings, beating the Raiders, beating the Cowboys, losing to the Chiefs, beating the Bears, losing to the Jets, beating the Lions, beating the Packers, losing to the Ravens, beating the Patriots, beating the Broncos, beating the Raiders, losing to the Buffalo Bills, losing to the Broncos, and beating the Chiefs. And we're going to go through all these teams, bro. They're not going to give you my Super Bowl prediction. The Broncos, Sean Payton, they barely missed the playoffs, but they go 9-8, a lot better than 5-12. They beat the Raiders. They lose to the Washington football team. They beat the Dolphins. They lose to the Bears. They lose to the Jets. Lose to Kansas City Chiefs. They beat the the Packers and the Chiefs. They lose to the Bills. They lose to the Vikings. They lose. Then they beat the Browns, beat the Texans, lose to the Chargers, beat the Lions, beat the Patriots, beat the Chargers, and then last week of the season, fumble an egg, lose into the Raiders. Then the Raiders, self-explanatory. I got them going terrible. They lose. L L L L L L. L L L L L L W against Minnesota. L L L L W. They're going to go 2-15, bro. I may be wrong, but I just don't see how they win games, bro. I don't see how they do it. Now I'm looking at the Buffalo Bills. I got the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets all making the playoffs, and then I got the Patriots missing out. So we look at right here. We got the Jets, Bills, L, W against the Raiders, W against the Commanders, W, W, W. 3 straight W's against the Dolphins, the Jaguars, and the Giants. Then they beat the Bills. Beat the Patriots. They beat the Buccaneers. They lose to the Bengals. They win against the Broncos and the Jets. So the Buffalo is really good right now. Then they lose to Philadelphia, lose to Kansas City. They beat Dallas. They beat the Chargers. They beat the Patriots twice, and they lose to the Dolphins last week of the season, fighting for a playoff spot. The Dolphins. Now, this could change with Tua's health. Obviously, I'm predicting Tua plays all 17 games with his concussion. I don't know, bro. So, we got 2-0. They beat the Chargers and the Patriots. Then they lose to the Dolphins. To the Broncos, first opener. Then they lose to Buffalo. Then they beat my Giants, and the Panthers go to 4-2. They lose the Eagles 4-3, 5-3. They beat the Patriots 5-4. They lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. Then they beat the Raiders. They go to 6-4. They lose to the Jets. They go to 6-5. Then they go 7-5. Then they end the year on a winning streak. They go 6-5. Then they go 6-5, 7-5, 8-5, 9-5, 10-5, 11-5. They beat the Ravens in week 17, and then they beat the Bills. So they go 12-5 and they end the season on a hot streak. Now for New York Football Jets, if I could. No, I don't want the Ravens. I could go to the Jets, please. Thank you. I got the Jets beating, obviously, W, L against the Cowboys, W against the Patriots. Then I got they got them starting what 2-1, 2-2, 3. They got them starting 3-3, 500 start the year with the hardest schedule. So they're gonna beat the Bills. They're gonna lose to the Cowboys. They're gonna beat the Patriots. They're gonna lose to the Chiefs. They're gonna beat the Broncos. All that chatting. Then they're gonna lose to the Eagles. They're gonna beat my Giants. They're gonna beat the Chargers, and then they're gonna beat the Raiders. So they'll be 6-3 after 10 weeks. They'll lose to the Bills, and then they'll beat the Dolphins, the Falcons, and Texans. And then they'll start losing a little bit. Then they'll go down. They'll lose to the Dolphins. They'll beat the Commanders. They'll lose to the Browns, and they lose to the Patriots. But they'll still make the playoffs. Now, I only got to do this division. The Jaguars, I mean, they win. They're going 6-0 in their division. That will help them carry a lot to an easy division win. They'll beat the Colts, lose to the Chiefs, beat the Texans and the Falcons, lose to the Bears, beat the Colts, lose to the Saints and the Steelers. They will beat the San Francisco 49ers. They will also beat the Titans. They'll beat the Texans. They'll lose to the Bengals. They'll beat the Browns. They'll beat the Ravens. They'll beat the Bucks, and then they'll beat the Panthers and Titans again. Now, I only have one team coming out of that division. The Jaguars are going to win that handily. Otherwise, every other team really is not really a comparison. Titans L L L L L W L L W W L W W L W L L L. Yeah, I'm not sold on the Titans. The Colts, I'm gonna just sim through this. I don't either of these teams are not good in my opinion, bro. I don't know why we're going to the Bengals. I literally said the Colts, bro. Yeah, this thing's lagging. Apologies for the misinformation, guys. This thing is acting a fool, but they lose L 2 W's against the Rams and Titans. L W, and then 2 W's in the season. Now we should go to the Houston Texans here. The Houston Texans L W L L L L L W L W L L L L L W. And then yeah. Now we go to the Baltimore Ravens. This is I think the toughest division, honestly, but I feel like I made good picks here. Looking here, I got WW. I think Baltimore gets Cincinnati. Here's my opinion. When Lamar and Joe Burrow played, Lamar's 2-1 with the actual help and everything. The only time they got him was when 41-17. Now it's just like a massacre. But otherwise, if everybody's healthy, the Ravens will beat the Bengals with Lamar Jackson. Everybody's healthy. That's what I've seen. So I'm sticking with that. So I got WWW. I got 2 L's. I got 3 L's in a row. To Cleveland and Baltimore. I'm at the Cleveland and Pittsburgh, and then I got one to the Titans. So they'll go from 3-0 to 3-3. People will start to panic, but they'll be fine. They'll beat the Lions, then they'll beat the Cardinals, then they'll beat the Seattle Seahawks, the Browns, and the Bengals, and they'll beat the Chargers. So they'll go from, let's say, 3-3 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 9-3, and people will say it's a good team. They'll beat the Rams. They will lose to the Jaguars. They will beat the Niners. They will lose to the Bills. Will be a 5th loss, and they'll beat the Steelers to win the division. Now the Bengals going to be right there, but the Bengals struggle more in division. All this depending on health for the quarterbacks. Obviously, if Lamar and Tua are out, then obviously predictions are going to change. But I think the Browns have consistently got the Bengals. That's my upset pick. I feel like the Browns always play the Bengals tough. The Bengals haven't won in Cleveland with Joe Burrow yet, and I don't think it's going to change, especially with the way Cleveland matches up with them. I think they'll lose. Obviously, to start 0-2, but they'll be fine. They'll win. They'll win the 3 in a row. They'll beat the Rams. They'll beat the Titans, and they will beat the Cardinals. And actually, they'll win 4 in a row. Then they'll beat the Seahawks. So they go 4-2 into the bye week. I think the Bengals get the 49ers. They get the 49ers. And then, like they win how many in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they're going to go to 8-2. So they start off 0-2, but they win 8 in a row, which is good. Then they lose to Baltimore again, 8-3. They beat the Steelers. They beat the Jaguars. They beat the Colts and the Vikings, and then they lose to the Steelers, and they lose to the Chiefs, and then they beat the Browns. You see, and then the Browns. I thought the Browns would be in the playoffs, but I'm not sure. But they win here. They go 1-1, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2. They start the first 7 weeks, in my opinion, 4-2. Then they lose 4-3, 5-3, 5-4, 6-4, 6-5, 6-6, 6-7, 7-7, 8-7, 9-7, and then 9-8. So this division is really tough. This is gonna be teams thing. Is this Mike Tomlin's first season of not going undefeated? I do not of having a losing record. To my looks, it looks like it. Now I may, you know what? I don't think the Patriots. I may give. I'm gonna give the Steelers this game against the Patriots, bro. So that means the Steelers. Mike Tomlin is not gonna have an undefeated season. I mean a losing season. Because he never does, bro. So they lose to the Steelers. I meant the 49ers. They beat they win the next 3 games against Cleveland, and then Raiders, and they get a light schedule here with the Raiders and the Texans, 2 of the worst teams. Then they go to 4-1. They beat the Ravens. Then what happens is then they lose to the Rams. Then they beat the Jaguars. Then they lose to the Titans. They lose to the Packers. They lose to the Browns and the Bengals. But then they end the season hot with 2 straight wins, and then they beat 4 straight wins, and then they lose their last 2 losing playoff hope. But they do finish above 500 with Tomlin. Now we go to the East. I meant the NFC, not the East. 49ers, one of the best teams. If Brock Purdy, what he was last year, I don't see why they can't win 13 games. Looking at this, WWWWW, they start 5. They start 7-0. That defense is real with the weapons. Like they start 7-0. They lose to the Bengals, obviously, and they lose to the Jaguars. I had that already, so they're 7-2, 8-2. They lose to Seattle on Thursday Night Football at 8-3. Then they beat the Eagles. They get their revenge for that playoff game. Then they beat Seattle. Then they beat the thing. They lose to the Ravens, and they beat the Washington Rams to clinch the number 1 seed. Seattle barely misses the playoffs, as we know. They didn't they beat the Rams. They lose to the Vikings too. They 2-2, 2-3, 3-3, 4-3. They lose to the Ravens 4-4. 5-4, 5-5, 6-5, 6-6, 6-7, 6-8, and then they win their last 3 games, 7-8, 8-8, and 9-8 to try to make the playoffs with above 500 season. Now the Los Angeles Rams, former Super Bowl champs, they're not really that good. I mean, they don't win an away game, in my opinion. Just looking at the schedule, I mean, think about it. They're losing to Seattle, they're losing to the 49ers, they lose to the 49ers, they lose. They start off 0-5. But then they win 2 games against the Steelers and the Cardinals, okay? Then they go to 2-7, losing. They always lose in Green Bay, and they lose to Dallas, especially with no protection, 2-7. Then they beat Seattle 3-7. They lose at Cardinals 4-8. Now I honestly might, but then I had to give the Cardinals a win. I do not see a team go 0-17. Even now, I would pick the Cardinals to lose every single game because they're not good at all. So I gave that the win. And then otherwise, they beat the Browns and the football team, and that's it. That's the only 2 wins left at home. So otherwise, they lose every single road game. I don't see them as a favorite in any road game they play, not one. And now we go to Arizona. This should be a breeze. I mean, this should be pretty easy. As we look, L. Every game's a L. They're not good until the week 12 against the Rams. They'll find a way to sneak win that game somehow and not go 0-17. Now we go to the actual teams. I'm a Giants fan, so I'm objective, even though I wish I would have had them going 17-0, but I damn sure know that that's not happening. The Eagles, they take a step back. They lose 2 more games, but they still win the division, and therefore they play well, and they win the division. So, bam, bam, bam. They beat everybody. Bam, 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 bam. Lose to the Washington football team. They always lose to them once during the season. I don't know why. They beat the Cowboys, lose to the Chiefs. They beat the Bills. I can't scroll down, bro. Thank you. They lose to the Bills. They lose to the 49ers. They lose to the Cowboys, and then blah blah. They split with my Giants, and then yeah, that's basically it. They basically split with every team. So they're 11-5. But Dallas, they go 4-2. They split with my Giants and the Eagles, and they cook the football team twice. I have them beating the football team twice. So otherwise, same schedule. Basically, they lose to the Giants, win, double L, win, L, win, L, win, L, win W. So far, I got. So for these are my playoff predictions so far. If you guys like, make sure you guys like and follow more videos, giving you guys the full breakdown. I think the Giants are really good at home this year. My Giants, because we also well at home. On the road is different. If we take care of home field, we can make the playoffs like I have here. We got 10-7. So WW started season 2-0, 3-1 after we lose to San Francisco, but we beat Seattle. Lose, 3-3. We go to 4-3. We're basically 400, 4-4 through 8 weeks. We lose to the Jets. We 5-4. We beat the Raiders and lose to the Cowboys 5-5. Then we go on a little win streak. 6-5, 7-5. Going up by 8-5. We beat Green Bay at home. And then we lose 2 games to the Saints and the Eagles. But then we bounce back by beating the Rams and the Eagles to clinch our spot in the playoffs. And then I don't gotta go to this track. They start off 2-0 too, but then they lose a lot rest of the game. They start the season 3-2, but this is where they implode. W. That's 4. I don't have them win a single game after that. I'm looking at this schedule. I'm like, what's an easy game? You could argue the Rams, but I mean, I don't know who's at quarterback, so they take a downfall. Now Detroit. They're going to win the division for the first time in a while. So they're losing the Chiefs. They have 2 W's against the Seahawks and the Falcons. Green Bay, they sneak a W. Bam, L against the Ravens. W, L, W, L, W. So, but that's an easy division. They go 5-1. I think Green Bay finishes second in that division. I don't trust Minnesota. Especially after the year last year they had, bro. I don't trust them. So I got Green Bay going 9-8 with Jordan Love first year. They lose, they win, they go 2-1. They basically start the year 3-2. Then they go 3-3, 5-3, actually 6-3. Then they go to 6-4, 6-5, 7-5, 7-6, 8-6, 8-7. 8, 9-8, basically barely missing the playoffs as well. They probably tiebreakers, conference record, division, something. Minnesota and Chicago goes from 3-14 to 7-10. I'm going to play them in a second. No, the Vikings, they take a huge hit in my book. They win at home but terrible on the road. They start the year 2-1 with two of the first 3 games, 2 or 3 games at home. They cover at home. Then they lose. Then they lose to the Chiefs. They lose to the Bears. They lose Niners. But then they beat the Falcons. They beat the Saints, and they go on a 4-game win streak before their bye. But then they lose to the Raiders because that's what the Vikings do. They lose to the Bengals. They beat the Lions and Bears at home, and they lose to the Lions, so they have a chance to make the playoffs. This is my sleeper, improved team. And think about this. The Bears went 3-14 last year. I'm definitely changing that record. They're going upward, 7-10. I'm telling you, teams at home are better. So, especially Justin Fields will take a big leap this year. I'm not saying they're still going to be last in the division, but they're going to be competitive in that division, not just 3-14. So I'm looking here. Bam. They start 2-0. A lot of teams here start 2-0. Then they lose to the Chiefs. Then they 3-1, 3-2. 4-2, 5-2. I had the Bears going 5-2 after 7 games, and they take it down for. This schedule was tough. L. So that's what 5-4, 6-4, 6-5, 6-6, 6-7, 6-8, 7-8, and then 7-9, 7-10. But the Bears are in competition, or the Bears are actually competing, which is very impressive for a Bears-led team. Especially with Justin Fields, they're heading in the right direction for sure. No doubt about it. After maybe next year they'll be my pick. in 2024 to win the division. But look, Bam, Bam, Bam. Okay, so the Saints, they're going to win that division, I believe. So Bam 2. I got 3. I think Derek Carr is not as bad as people think, and that division's so weak. So I think they start 2-0. They 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, 7-2, 7-3, 7-4, 7-5, 8-5, 9-5, 10-5, 10-6, and then 11-6 to make sure they clinch their division. They're ending up playing the Cowboys week 1, which is, I'm in the first round of the playoffs according to my standings. Now looking at the Falcons, I mean they sneak into the playoffs. The Falcons get in. I think the Falcons are a sleeper team this year. I think they won. They start off really slow though. They start off 1-3, but then they get hot. Then they go 5-3 over from weeks 5 to 8, 5-3 by beating the Texans, the football team, Commanders, the Bucks, and the Titans. And then they lose to the Vikings. They beat the Cardinals. They beat the Saints. They lose to the Jets. They beat the Bucks. They lose to the Panthers. Lose to the Colts. But then they win the game they needed to win, and they win Week 17 to clinch, or to basically, by record and doubtful, they get a playoff spot. The Panthers, Bryce Young's first year, not really expecting a lot. I mean, I'm not really expecting a lot from them at all. And the Bucks with Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, bro, like, and for their reports that Kyle Trask might be the leading guy, or either or, which if you can't be on Kyle Trask, I'm sorry, the Bucks are just straight dog shit. No offense. Okay, now, all right, forget all those stuff, bro. Forget all those shit, bro. Yeah, let's go to the wild card round. Yeah, forget all this nonsense. Okay, now we get to the wild. These are my playoff picture. I got the Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers having the home field advantage of week 1 bye. So here are my predictions. Let's start with NFC. I got the Eagles. I love the Falcons, the Eagles. I think the Cowboys are going to do Cowboy things. I'm a Giants fan, so I hate the Cowboys, number 1. I think the Cowboys, every year, expectations, they find a way to sell. The Saints with Derek Carr at home in that dome gets them in the first round, the wild card round. Now, this is what I think. The Lions, are they building the Giants? We have playoff experience. We won a game, and we're going to do it again. We're going to go to Detroit, who everybody hyped, Super Bowl. Detroit going to Super Bowl. And we're going to steal that game in Detroit and go to the number 1 seed like we did last year. So that's about to get Aki and spicy, and I can't wait for that. And then we got the AFC. This is a lot more tricky. I think Baltimore gets their lick back against Miami, first round playoff. They beat them week 17 to try to win the division. They couldn't. So I think they got it there. This is tough because obviously the Bengals have them as a 6 seed. The Bengals will obviously go far in these years' playoffs. But I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are a better team. I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence. And the Jaguars to upset the Bengals. It's going to go upset. Then, here's the tricky part, bro. Jets and Bills. The Bills' last few playoff series, bro, have not been able to get over the hump. And what I think, they have the same quarterback, the same coach. Every year, it's the same thing. It's not going to change. Give me Aaron Rodgers and the Jets to upset the Buffalo Bills, and they're the ones going to Kansas City to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, we go to the divisional round. This is the matchups. I'm a Giants fan. Am I dumb enough to pick against the 49ers? Hell no, we're losing that one. We're losing to the San Francisco 49ers. Now, these games are interesting. Because I think the Ravens, Jaguars... Actually, no, we'll stay with the NFC first. So I get the San Francisco 49ers move on. Eagles Saints is a tough one. Because the Saints play the Eagles really well and vice versa. And Derek Carr is not... If Derek Carr is what we think he is, he could be able to win this game. Saints always have a good defense. The Saints got weapons. It's not like it's going to be a good game, but I think the Eagles put out the end. Close game, the Eagles win. It sets up an NFC Championship game rematch. Now, in this end, do I believe Aaron Rodgers' run ends? It wouldn't end, but they're playing Mahomes Kansas City. Mahomes has not gone here without winning one playoff game. That's not going to change here. Give me Kansas City Chiefs to beat the New York Jets. Aaron, so far, first good year with the Jets. First off, they got a playoff win, but next year they improve and might get better. Now, this is the game of the week. Lawrence against Lamar. The Jaguars have beaten them 2 straight times from last year, the regular season, this year. Third time's a charm. Give me the Baltimore Ravens to go to the AFC Championship game. So now if we go, let's see, bro. What the? Bro, I hate this my computer sometimes. All right, now we locked in. This is what I predict. The Baltimore Ravens against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles against the San Francisco 49ers. Like I said, the 49ers got their lick back in the regular season, but I don't think that's the lick back they want. They get their championship game at home this year, and in my opinion, bro, it doesn't matter if it's at home or away. The Niners are getting their revenge. Give me the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC with Brock Purdy. And you say, oh, bro, if Brock Purdy, as long as they have a competent quarterback that doesn't give the game away, Brock Purdy does not give the game away, the 49ers' talent will be too much. Not too much for the Eagles, but it'll be a close game, but the Niners will prevail. So, now we get to the AFC. Now, this is what I wanted for a long time. Ravens, Chiefs, and game. Two of my favorite quarterbacks ever in the league. Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But Kansas City with Mahomes and Kelsey and breeds greatness, plus that improved defense. I think Baltimore's defense, since they got Roquan Smith, has been number 2, and they'll be elite again this year. Marlon Humphrey will be back. They got Robert Donnie. They got Jadeveon Clowney on defensive line. They got all these weapons. Odell, Bateman, Zay Flowers, Andrews. I mean, the weapons galore. The Ravens going to be so much harder to guard because if you play back, they're going to run the football. If you press up, they're by you. And I think Lamar proves all you doubters wrong. All the people that said he can't play quarterback, he can't throw, he's not a traditional quarterback. I don't care if he wins 12 MVPs. He's going to shut all y'all up. And he's going to find a way to beat Mahomes in Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl. Now, would I be upset if Mahomes beat him? Yes, but no, because I love Mahomes too. And then he'll try to get ring number 3. Oh, my Lord. Imagine he gets ring number 3 this year. All that top 5 talk. Oof. Okay, but that's my Super Bowl right here. Baltimore against San Francisco. This has been a classic. These two always play good games. Every time they go to the Super Bowl, they match up really well. San Francisco almost beat them in the Super Bowl. That was the Harbaugh Bowl. But now John Harbaugh is still there, and it's Kyle Shanahan. And one thing I know about Kyle Shanahan in Super Bowls, he does not coach his best. The lights get to him, and they're going to choke a lead. They played Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. They played he has coached against 2 of the greatest players you'll ever see in your lifetime. And Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson's not on that level yet. He will be. And this is his coming out party against a San Francisco defense where he's had success against that San Francisco defense with his dual threat. San Francisco struggles against dual threat quarterbacks. They struggle. But the difference is the Baltimore Ravens could do both. They can run the ball and think. The San Francisco Niners, the way they had struggled against the Eagles last year, because the Eagles could run and pass, and the Eagles torched them. Teams that could do both really well against the 49ers have success. The Packers only could pass the ball well, and also Aaron Rodgers choking his guts out. As long as the 49ers, they're going to be in this game. It's not going to be a bad game, close game. It could go either way. But I've seen teams that can run and pass the ball good at the same time cook the 49ers defense. And do I believe Brock Purdy? I trust Lamar Jackson over Brock Purdy for all that reasons. I am taking the Baltimore Ravens, the Super Bowl champions. The Baltimore Ravens will win the Super Bowl this year. You heard it here first. Maybe it's not against the 49ers, but the Baltimore Ravens will win the Super Bowl this year. I'm not going to say guarantee like Chuck because I don't want to have that bad luck. But The Niners and the Ravens Super Bowl. The Ravens win. Justin Tucker walk-off field goal. Lamar Jackson has over 450 total yards combined. Oh no, over 400 total yards. Super Bowl MVP. He might win regular MVP. I'm not gonna say that. I don't know. He's gonna definitely be an All-Pro, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl MVP. Puts his name. He starts his Hall of Fame track. Hey man, the one race with Super Bowl, man. These are my NFL predictions. It's 30 minutes long, but hey man, listen. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, more videos. I mentioned all y'all. I appreciate every single one of y'all, man, who's rocking with me on my channel. These are my NFL official predictions. And I love y'all, man. Y'all have a blessed day. Y'all take it easy. Peace.